Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Did you hear about this stuff about Queen's Fat Bottom Girls being banned, been canceled?
What?
have you not?
Positive song.
Have you not heard this?
No.
You have not heard this news?
No.
Oh, anyway, so a musical app that gives music to kids, like 3 to 8 years old, kids. They said, we're not going to put Fat Bottom Girls on this playlist, Queen's Fat Bottom Girls on this playlist. And so a bunch of news stories got ran. It was like, oh, Queen Fat Bottom Girls being canceled because people are too body positive or something. No. It's a very grown-up song, and sometimes there's very grown-up songs. I would, on this playlist given to kids, I would not want 9 Inch Nails Closer on it. You know what I mean? I would not want Fat Bottom Girls on it. After all, Fat Bottom Girls, if you listen to the lyrics about it, it's a story about a guy who was molested by a nanny when he was a kid, and now it's his kink. And I'll explain with the lyrics. The very opening lyrics is, I was just a skinny lad, never knew no good from bad. I knew life before I left my nursery. Left alone with big fat Fanny. She was such a naughty nanny. Heap big woman, made a bad boy out of me. All right. And then there's another verse that says, I got mortgages and homes. I got stiffness in the bones. No beauty queens in this locality. I still get my pleasure. Still got my greatest treasure. Heap big woman, you made a fat boy out of me, or something like that. And the story is that I was molested as a kid. Now it's my kink. Do you understand what this song is about now? I do not want my 11-year-old niece listening to this song, much less kids who are 3 to 5 years old. All right? This is why, when you start allowing like a government, or you start allowing a company or any kind of citizen group or anything like that to try to censor music for your own family, you'll have problems. There'll be differences of opinion, Fat Bottom Girls is an adult song, all right? And the only question I have to ask is, who bad touched you, Farouk Bulsara? Because that's probably Freddie's story. He was bad touched by some, probably guy, maybe a girl too, and that kind of like turned him on sexually at a young age. And now it's his kink, And that's kind of the point of the song. There's another song by Queen off the 1977. See, I could talk about Queen all day. Seriously. Off the 1977 News of the World album called Get Down, Make Love. I hope that 3-year-olds aren't being given that music, because there's lines in that says like, you suck my mind, I blow your head, make love inside your bed. Everybody get down, make love. I'm not going to deny it's a good song, and I rock out to it, but it has adult themes in the lyrics. All right, there are plenty of Queen songs that are like very PG and less in terms of like how, it's just, frilly language about love and so forth. And I mean, I can even like critique like the writing of different Queen members. I think up until like 1986, 87, 86, up until then, like the individual writer of the song would get the rights. Like, for example, John Deacon wrote Another One Bites the Dust. So I guess he got the royalties, and so about 1986 or so, Queen, every song was written by Queen as a big group, so they could, I guess, share the royalties. Anyway, so the point is that, if I could critique the writing of the different members of Queen, I find Freddie Mercury's writing to vacillate in between pretentious and hedonistic, And generally, I don't like his stuff. But then again, he didn't really like his stuff either. He considered the stuff he writes to be disposable pop, and it's just a kind of hedonistic, thing he might say. Roger Taylor's songs and Brian May's songs, especially, had a lot of depth to them. They wrote a bunch of good stuff. But generally, there's also like gibberish songs. There's one called Mustafa off the Jazz album, which is this photo comes from. I got to talk about the jazz album at length. There's the first track on the jazz album was called Mustafa Ibrahim, Allah, 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 we'll pray for you. It was like a kind of Eastern, Middle Eastern music kind of themed. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's ridiculous. Mustafa Ibrahim, Allah will pray for you. That doesn't make any sense, Freddie. What are you doing? So there's also a song on the 1991 album, or is it 91 album, Headlong. Headlong, 91. All right. Now you got soup in the laundry bag. Now you got strings. You got to lose your rag. It ain't so groovy. It ain't so groovy when you're getting in a fight. You're screaming in the night. Let me out of this cheap B movie. It's gibberish, and they made a song out of it, and I like it. And that's okay. But you got to understand that there's a difference in each individual case. Each individual comic book, is not the same. People are putting the Comics Code Authority on Archie Comics in the 60s. And you're like, why? Archie Comics in the 60s is the idealistic white picket fence, white culture at its peak. You know what I mean? So, you got to, evaluate each piece of art individually. All right? Like every single one of my shows. It's each its own individual piece of art. All right? And what's interesting about this jazz album, this particular picture, if you notice that the panties look a little weird in the bra, the string around the bra part looks a little weird. It looks out of place, like it's not really there. Yeah, this is like one of the very first Photoshop things that it came out on a Queen album. This is actually for a single, Fat Bottom Girls. And so this picture was taken from a promotional thing Queen did one day for the jazz album, where it's in the liner notes of the album. If you open up the album of Queen's jazz album, there's a big spread of like 200 girls naked girls on bicycles. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? But in this photo was taken from that photo shoot where they had this private event inside a stadium where these naked girls rode around the track it was to promote bicycle race and Fat Bottom Girls as a double single. All right. Gotta let a bunch of guys come in and poking their noses around. You know what I mean? They felt like their odds were good. Bunch of fat bottom girls having a bicycle race. It was kind of a brilliant marketing strategy. All right, but let's be honest. this was taken from a naked girl on a bike, and they added the panties and they added the bra so that they can get away with it in America. And Queen had been getting censored and stuff quite a bit, especially during this time. Like the Hot Space album. A lot of homosexual undertones in that one, homosexual undertones, I should say, yeah. And I think the Body Language video was banned. MTV wasn't allowed to play it or couldn't play it because there was male on male sexualized content, contact or something like that. But I always find that interesting. It's like I forgot that story was in my head. As I look at that girl's ass, I remember, oh yeah. Queen did some crazy adult stuff, Yeah, there are songs that younger audiences can like and appreciate and be introduced to, but, stories about being molested by a nanny, you can hold off on that one for a few years, right? There's songs I don't want my niece to hear, It's like it's going to be quite a while before I introduce her to the harder stuff. Like Rick Astley.